Well, hello. Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, your favorite Whimsy, the Oracle of Whimsy, here to talk about everything that's going on in the world. But before we get started, it would be great if you could like, share, and subscribe to the stream as we boldly march towards 150 subscribers. Oy vey vey, that's a lot of people to take care of. Listen, we need to talk. I have been asked to speak on the subject of the reckoning. For every action, there's a reaction of equal and sometimes greater force, depending, you can, for example, annoy somebody and they might come out and get aggressive with you. That might be an action reaction. There are a lot of prophecies from a lot of different cultural perspectives about what is going on right now, a type of cleansing over the earth. There's been a lot of conversation about this idea that there is a cleansing over the earth. And I often refer back to the Ifa and the teachings of the Yoruba people out of Nigeria. And this idea of a balancing out of male and female energy right now that is quite profound. A balancing out of perceived injustices against women and children that have been going on. Slavery, human trafficking, exploitation of women, abuse of women, crimes against women, and those countries that engage in crimes against women. Those people that engage in crimes against women. Now, in the Ifa, there are stories of the divine feminine leaving the earth. And when the divine feminine leaves the earth will cease to exist. And that is referenced in the Ifa as an orisha or energy similar to the Shinto religion, which speaks about the energies that sustain life in the earth. Similarly, we see the same thing amongst the Ifa. This idea that there are certain forces that exist in the world that will cease to exist. Right? Scratch that, go again. That there are forces that exist in the world that allow life to exist. The particle and the wave, right? You have to have a particle, you have to have a wave, you have to have a yin, you have to have a yang. The Orisha or deity or energy ascribed to the divine feminine, fertility, etc. What is thought of as the yin, right? Those aspects are expressed as the deity Oshune, the goddess Oshune. And the prophecy is that if she is disrespected, she will leave the earth. And when she leaves the earth will no longer be sustainable for life. The bees will begin to leave the earth. Bees are sacred to Oshun. And when she begins to leave the earth, you will know because you'll begin to see problems in the bee population. And in fact, that is what we are seeing. We're starting to see the sweet waters receding. She is associated with the sweet waters, fertility, the sweet waters, honey, right? The sweet things of life, mating calls, falling in love, the love of a woman. So in the prophecy, when she is disrespected, when the divine feminine is disrespected, it leaves the earth, and we start to see a receding of the sweet water, and we start to see a decline in the bees. This doesn't mean that you have to believe there's some god in the sky or an orisha, a deity in the sky that's female that floats around in a yellow dress. You can see it as simply from an energetic perspective. that these were ancient concepts that go back maybe 8,000 years old that are simply talking about energies, and that there is an energy in this world that is feminine and divine and sacred and necessary for life to exist. And specifically, the energy of life that is dependent on sweet water. Now we see people buying bottles of water and drinking it out of plastic, which is estrogenic, which is why you must never leave a plastic bottle in a hot car, which brings us back to where we are right now. And that is this idea that the feminine divine cannot coexist with extreme brutality. It's not a place to raise your children, right? It's not conducive to being a happy mother who feels safe to bring children into the world. So, if you want life to survive, if you want the oasis to survive, the sweet water and the beautiful life and the pure, clean imagery of an oasis, if you want that, then someone has to leave the house. And so that's really more the energy of Oshun. Either you go or I go, because Oshun is depicted as a woman of tremendous self respect. And when we think about, when the Orisha speak about, when you go to a Babalao and you have your shells done and you receive a reading, one of the messages can be that Oshun is angry or that you have displeased Oshun. And what that often means is that you have not carried yourself with self-respect, or maybe you see yourself in a way you don't understand your worth as a woman, as a human being. And you have tolerated things that no person who respects themselves should ever have to tolerate. So that is the imbalance that Oshun addresses. It's not about Republicans and Democrats. It's anybody who conducts themselves in a way that is disrespectful to the feminine divine, right? So attacking anything that you feel is associated with the feminine divine, right? And that includes the LGBTQ community, right? It was a threat to the mucho macho, the toxic masculinity, right? So that was part of a community that was being persecuted in this all out war against the feminine divine. It also was a war against the other, often the most gentle, or what we would express as the most feminine traits. And it's not a war, even though Republican policies have harmed a lot of women, particularly women of color. A psychopath can hide amongst sheep, right? Or a psychopath can put on a facade of caring about women, because if you say you care about women, you're more likely to get a date, you're more likely to get laid, you're more likely to get a hold of her credit card, right? So when we talk about the energy that's clearing right now over Oshun, it's a feeling that either you go or I go. So Oshun is leaving the earth or you're leaving the earth. And we like sweet water. We like clean drinking water. We don't want to see our children being killed in war, right? So for many activists, the feminine divine is something that we are fighting to preserve and protect in an increasingly hostile world. Energetically, what this looks like is a cleansing, and we said a cleansing is coming. Now, how long will this cleansing go? At least until 2027. And again, it's not one political party. But since that prophecy was made, since the Babalaos out of Cuba, this is not my prophecy. I'm just a messenger. I didn't. This is not my religion either. I'm not Santerian. I'm not Yoruba. I'm an anthropologist, and I'm very interested in this, so I read on it. But what the Babalaos out of Cuba are saying as they go and they try to clean the sweet water. Do everything you can to clean the sweet water and to bring the bees back. Clean this mess up. Do what we can to beckon back the divine feminine. That's what we can do. But also the prophecy that she would take out, she would behead, that Oshun would take out a lot of people that hurt women. And that's not to be a judgment of anybody who was unalived this year, right? And a lot of people have been unalived or have gone missing or their careers have gone up in smoke. On both political sides, Lindsey Graham has left the earth. Mitch McConnell is AWOL. He, for whatever reason, he cannot come to the phone. Khamenei out of Iran is gone, and rumors are that his son was killed as well. The IRGC has been wiped out. Horrible oppression of women, killed over 40,000 women in 2 days. The protesters, mostly women, men and women. 1.2 million females under the age of 14 married in Iran. I can't imagine Oshun would be happy about 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds being sold off to marriage. So that's happening, right? These massive wars that are taking out horrific regimes. Hezbollah going down, Hamas now surrendering, disarming just came out the last couple of days. They're disarming. The fall of this toxic masculinity. But we're also seeing it on the Democratic side. We saw the fall of Planter out of Maine. Planter is now gone, said some horrible things about women and was accused of doing horrible things against women. And out went a Planter. We've also seen the fall of Congressman Swalwell for multiple actions against women. He now is gone as well. And all of these people have one thing in common. Their policies and their actions hurt women. Swalwell hurt women. Those are the allegations. 40 allegations, multiple people quitting. We didn't want to believe it because we believe in the policies that he was advocating for. But that's the problem with psychopathy. They hide amongst good people, right? And that's why it's hard to catch them. So Swalwell was in that list, in my opinion. This is just my opinion, my interpretation. And so is Planter, which is why in the remotes and also in the readings I've given in the past, I said that Planter would leave and that Swalwell would leave Congress. Because that was what I knew the energy and I knew the prophecy. And that Khomeini would go. Afghanistan will follow, and Qatar is in serious economic trouble in the next 3 to 5 years. Turkey's going down. I think Erdogan's out. I think Netanyahu is out. He's going down. Trump probably is not long for this world. I'm sorry, these are my opinions. I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't think he is going to be able to complete his term. Now, a lot of people are concerned about J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance has also been horrible in his policies to women. But we'll just have to see how this plays itself out. Because basically, with this energy that we're talking about and the way that it is moving over the earth, if you are somebody who harms women, and Putin is going out, you don't kidnap 250,000, you don't kill people's parents in front of the children and then kidnap them to God knows where, right? There are consequences for these actions. So I just wanted to go online and say that in terms of who, and that is why I believe that those people will be taken out in 2026, 2027 because of the prophecy and because of the direction we're headed. Yeah. So that is the prophecy of Oshun, the goddess of Oshun, the goddess of femininity and the cleansing of the earth so that she can remain on the earth and rebuild oasis, a place of peace for everyone. All right, I want to thank you for listening to this remote view and this conversation. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all that information below this video. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Be well. Thank you so much. Bye.